Hi, this is Trisha at Trisha Stamps, and I am just opening my new paper pumpkin kit. This is the Sending Good Thoughts July 2022 kit. So I'm going to let you all watch as I unbox this and start playing with it. So in this kit, we've got a note reminding us that we are in the middle of celebration. Celebration is July and August. We've got our stamp set and ink pad. Beautiful nautical theme. You've got this ship at the bottom. Looks like some bubbly waves, a little seahorse and some kelp or seaweed, some stars, a little rolled up message it looks like, and then a couple of sentiments. Wishing you all the best, thinking of you, can't wait to see you, and sending good thoughts. And then we have a Bermuda Bay ink pad to go along with our stamps. So let's get into the kit here. Okay, it looks like we have some really beautiful, like coastal cabana looking envelopes, but I'm gonna jump to the back and grab our instruction sheet so we can see what we're going to be making. Oh my gosh, I love these really pretty projects. Looks like we're going to have 9 cards total, 3 of each design, all that nautical feel with some seagulls and message in a bottle type feeling. As always, there's a full instruction sheet here with all of the step-by-step instructions, and in the center there's sort of a contents where it shows you which elements you need to create each card project, so you know what to gather up when you're getting started. And then on the back of the instructions there's some more details about the kit, which is everything you can find inside the box, some alternate project ideas, a link to Stampin' Up's video on how to assemble, the color combination that's featured in this kit, which is Balmy Blue, Basic Gray, Bermuda Bay, Fresh Freesia, Pacific Point, and Poppy Parade. And just some other resources here that you can link to. So this is just chock full of lots of great information. The kit comes with, looks like some glue dots just on a backing sheet, a little bit of linen thread, a full sheet of dimensionals. I already showed you the envelopes. And we've got 3 Bermuda Bay card bases. Get some of my other elements out of there. It looks like 3 Basic Gray card bases and 3 of the Fresh Freesia. Gosh, I love that color combination already. And then some of the other elements that we have this panel, which is really cool. It's it has brush strokes, but it's also embossed. You can kind of see from, maybe you can see from that side if I tilt it in the light, but it's embossed, so it has some texture to it. Same thing with this panel, which has an embossed sea and clouds. Not sure if I tilt that, how well you'll be able to see it, but some embossed clouds, and then this just really pretty like splattered ombre. It's another background panel with a splattered Fresh Freesia and an embossed like could be waves or scallops, kind of that scalloped look. Not sure how well that's showing up on camera, but hopefully you guys can catch that. So some pretty card elements. And then of course all of our die cuts. You've got a couple of large and 1 small of these bottle shapes that have the stoppers, a pretty tag and a label, some more round and flagged labels, and then this is so pretty. Look at this gorgeous coral, a beautiful colored coral in a couple of different shapes, and some of these watercolory looking seabirds, a beautiful seahorse and sea star or starfish. So really pretty. And there's a couple of sheets of each of these elements. I'm going to go through these pretty quickly. I'm going to grab everything we need for card number 1, which is the basic gray card base, this striped turquoise panel, looks like we need this real pretty light turquoise, like a Coastal Cabana flag, and looks like we're using the smaller bottle for this one. We'll see when we get to assembly if I'm right about that, but I think so, because I think this one with the blue is going to have our ship in it. So I think we're going to use this one. And it looks like we need the really pretty Fresh Freesia Pacific Point and Bermuda Bay piece of coral, which is really intricate, and all you have to do to get that loose is to just kind of put your fingers on the die cut itself and then on the side piece and wiggle back and forth a little bit, and it just comes out really easily and frees up. It's cut beautifully, so not an issue to get that out. So it does look like we're going to do a little stamping. I'm going to set the rest of my things off to the side, and we'll flip to our instructions. Okay, I have my supplies for card number 1 gathered up, and I'm going to use this like bubble stamp. When I do my paper pumpkin kits, even though it comes with the paper pumpkin block, I do find it easier to use my ergonomic blocks, the thicker ones. So I just have a couple of those on hand. And then this rolled up message, I have another block. I'll put that on. I'm gonna just go ahead and open up my Bermuda Bay ink by kind of slicing it. You can do this with a scissors or whatever, but and some people like to open one side. I kind of like to have it totally free. So here's my Bermuda Bay ink. And I'm gonna just ink that guy up. And it looks like I wanna just stamp that kind of down one edge of the banner and then again on this other edge of the banner, just so you've got a little texture. I have my chamois off to the side here, and I'm just wiping my stamp clean. Ooh, I need that still. I am going to then grab my bottle and kind of prime my stamp on the back of my hand, get it ready for ink. Ink up my rolled up message, and that's gonna go just right inside my bottle. So we've got a sweet little message in a bottle. Oh, I do have one more stamp. So I'm gonna trade out the sentiment that says, "Can't wait to see you." Of course, you can mix and match these sentiments to whatever your card needs are. But I do like to assemble at least one of each of the cards just exactly as they have it designed. And then I'm just gonna ink up the sentiment here. Make sure it's good and inked, and it does look like they have, I'm paying attention, the circle is on the far right side next to the word you, not on the other way around. So I'm going to pop that on there like that, just the way they had it. All right, that was step 1, that was our stamping. Step 2 is to take the turquoise panel and adhere it to the front of our card base. And we've got some dimensionals to do that. Crack open a brand new sheet of dimensionals. And they've got 5 of those, so I'll do the same. It doesn't really look like there's an up or a down. I'm not sure, so I'm going to just center this in the middle of my gray card front. Step 3, it says to take a little bit of that linen thread, 9 inches or so, and thread it through the hole of our label, and then we're going to tie it around the neck of the bottle. So we'll grab the linen thread. See if I can find the end. That's always a trick. Oh, that was pretty easy. And I'm gonna measure out 9 inches because that's what they told me to do. Give that a snip. And that goes right through here. And we are going to tie that around the neck of our bottle here. And if you're making little tiny bows or like on a little tiny area like this, I like to do just an actual knot first. And that way my string is not trying to unravel on me, and then I can do my like shoelace bow. And then to play with your size, I just hold on to the knot and tug on these tails until I get it down to the size that I want. And I think I want it pretty small. Let's see here. That's probably good right there. I'm going to wait to cut my tails until I'm all done. But it looks like all I have to do, I pull my instructions back in, so I've done all of this. And now it's telling me to put a dimensional on the back of my bottle, and then a couple of the glue dots just on some of the widest points of the die cut. So if we flip the die cut over, I think the easiest spots to put these are like where 2 pieces meet and you've got a little bit of thickness. So I'm going to put one in here. And everybody has a different opinion. I find it easiest to do this with my little pick on my take your pick tool. Some people do it with the edge of their scissors. Some people can do it with their fingernails. I have trouble with that, but so I'm kind of spreading these out so I've got a few of the different sections tacked down. Good. And it looks like that goes onto our banner, kind of dangling off the edge a little bit. So pretty like that. And then they have the banner. Oh, I've got to put my bottle on there. Now, why didn't they put one on the bottom? Is that intentional? I don't know. I'm going to go ahead and do it. Breaking the rules. There, we've got the bottle just centered. It's kind of highlighted by the different color of the pretty, I don't know, what would you call that? Seagrass or something. And then they have that. Looks like it's off center a little bit, just off to the side. So pretty. And they have it just flat. They did not pop it up on dimensionals. I think you could put it on dimensionals and it would be beautiful like that, but again, I'm going to do it exactly as intended. Just give a nice smattering of those, all my corners, and then one in the middle. and I'm just making this parallel so that my banner is parallel with the side of my card panel. And that is our first card. What a sweet thinking of you, can't wait to see you card. I'm gonna trim my little ends just a bit. And that is just adorable. I love it. Okay, card number 2. Let's just keep trucking. Let's go to our ingredients for card number 2. So we're going to be making the more fresh freesia card here. So we've got the scallop panel, the fresh freesia card base, the larger bottle die cut, but not the one with the water in it, just the gray background. This one, like that. And our red coral and our red seahorse. Gosh, the combination of the fresh freesia and the poppy parade is surprising to me, but so pretty. I love that combo. I know purple and red play nice, but that's a different combination. I like it. I need one of these circles, and I think that's all I need. So let's skip to the directions and make sure. Get to card number 2, and we'll start with our stamping. So we're going to stamp a message right on our circle and stamp some texture onto our starfish, and then stamp seaweed in our bottle. That's what we have going here. So I've got the texture already mounted up. Let's go ahead and do that. Now it's gonna go right on the starfish. Bring my scratch paper over. And I did first and second generation. I'm not sure if that's what they showed here, but that's what I did. A little bit of that. Then the sentiment that says wishing you all the best is going to go in our circle. So let's ink that up. And the Bermuda Bay ink, that's going to go right here in the middle of the circle. Beautiful. And our last stamp, which I think might be one of my faves on this stamp set, is this really pretty seaweed, or kelp, or whatever you want to call it, seagrass. Maybe seagrass is the nicest way to say it rather than weed, huh? Seaweed. And that looks like they kind of just have that off to this one side down at the bottom. Beautiful. So that's step 1. That's it for our stamping. We did all 3 elements. Step 2, same as before. It looks like we're just going to apply the panel to the card base with some dimensionals. So let's grab those pieces. Fold our card base. Take our panel and put some dimensionals. Peel off the backing papers. And center our pretty textured paper onto our card base. Very cool. All right, next step, step 3 here. We're going to take another 9-inch length of the linen thread and just give a little knot around the bottle for some texture there. And I think these are suggestions of measurements, so I'm not super precise about it, but close enough. So looks like they go around a couple times. I'm gonna go around a few times and tie a little knot. They don't even have a bow, they just have a knot. Come around this way a little bit. Could even go 3. I'm gonna go 3 times. And a little detail like this is just adds so much to the finished product, having just that little bit of twine wrapped around there. Okay, so they are telling us to use some glue dots, that's these little dots, to affix that over here on a diagonal. So let's take some glue dots and do that. And they do not have this straight up and down. They do kind of have it at a diagonal, which to me feels like if this were to fall, you know, to the bottom of the sea and get nestled into this coral, it wouldn't fall perfectly straight up, right? It would maybe get lodged on an angle. So that seems appropriate. And the next step in our directions, after we've glued this on, is to move to step 4, and it's to add all these different elements. So they put the coral on with glue dots, and then the other elements they added with the dimensionals. So I'm gonna put some glue dots on the back of the coral. Again, trying to find spots in the coral where there's like a joint of the branches of the coral, whatever you want to call it. And I've got a little room. There we go. And if I look where they've got that, they kind of have it so you can still see some of this poking from behind. It's maybe a little lower. Right about there, it looks like. And we're going to put a dimensional right in the center of our starfish. Looks like you can just fit that guy in there. And that goes up in here. I'm gonna kind of tuck some of it under and some of it over the coral. Put a few dimensionals on the back of our sentiment. And then on our seahorse, the dimensional might be a little fat, so it tells us to cut them in half. I'm gonna just grab some of my edge dimensionals and take a little half of a dimensional piece. For the seahorse. There we go. And my seahorse lives over here on this side, it looks like. So pretty. And that, it looks like, is just up here in that corner. Give my bottle a little bit of a trim, but let those tails just kind of do their thing. That is our finished card, card number 2. Beautiful combination of colors. I love the fresh freesia with the Bermuda Bay and the Poppy Parade. That's so pretty. Love it. All right, 2 down, 1 to go. Let's go back to our ingredients page and see what we need to grab. You know, of course, it's all the leftovers, but still. So we need the blue panel and the Bermuda Bay card base. I got those 2. We're gonna need all 3 of the birds, it looks like. So that one, this one, and this one. 3 different bird shapes. We need the bottle that has the water in it, if you were to look at it on its side like this. And we need the long, skinny Coastal Cabana banner. That one. Okay. And then of course we need our adhesive and some stamps. So, but I think that's all for the paper elements. Let's go ahead and jump to our instructions and see what's next. Okay, so for stamping, we're gonna stamp on these 2 elements. It looks like the first thing is the big ship. So cool. And also sending good thoughts in a really pretty casual script type font. So start with the ship. I've got that mounted up on a block. I'm gonna scuff it up on my hand. And use my Bermuda Bay ink. And fit that right inside my bottle. How cool is that? I love it. Really cool. And then use my same block for the sentiment. And I'm paying attention in my instructions here. The sending good thoughts is way over here by the flagged end of my banner. I don't know if that's going to be important, but oh, well, if I scoot ahead, it is going to. So I'm going to follow exactly what they did. Sometimes our inclination is just to center something automatically, but with these kits, you do want to pay attention to where they have it so that you don't end up with a surprise when you get to a later step. So that is really sweet. It says sending good thoughts. Now, I just lost a little bit of light. I hope that you guys can still see rather than stop and start over since I'm towards the end here. I hope you guys can still see, and I'll try to brighten this part of the video if it looks like it got a little dark, but I apologize. I think something just burned out here. So let's go back to our instructions. All my stamping, just these 2 items were done. So now we are going to, it looks like before we adhere our blue panel onto the turquoise, the Bermuda Bay base, it wants us to wrap it with some of the linen thread. So 21 inches of linen thread. That's going to be an entire length of our instruction sheet, which is 18, right? And then a couple more after that. We'll go 3 more inches and then give that a snip. And wrap this just once around our card base. I like to tie a knot first so that it's secure and so it doesn't get too loose on me. Then I go ahead and make my bow. Hopefully you guys saw that. Was I out of frame? No. All right, and then of course you can always slide this around left to right, play with your loops and make them bigger or smaller. I'm not exactly sure how I want this yet because I don't know what the rest of it's going to look like, but I will leave it until I figure that out. And go back to the instructions. This does call for dimensionals on the back. So let's pop some dimensionals onto the back of our panel. And as long as I don't cover my string with dimensionals, then I'll still be able to adjust that as the design starts to come together. So I just won't touch the dimensionals onto the string there, and I won't be trapping it in place. Sometimes I want to trap it, sometimes I want to leave it open. So this time I want to leave it free to move. This looks like it's going to be a top fold landscape style card. So fold my card base in half and then center, oops, dropped it too early. And then center our panel on here. Beautiful. Okay, so we've completed step 2. Now step 3 is to put some dimensionals behind our banner and put the bottle on with glue dots. So I'll pop some glue dots behind the bottle here. Of course, if you have the seal or green glue and you prefer to work with that, you can use whatever adhesive you want. Sometimes I do like to use the others and then save these little mini glue dots for like intricate things like the coral that we were working with before. So I'm looking at this, it looks like they definitely have it. It's a little closer to the right side than the left, but not all the way. And it's not sitting on top of these embossed water lines. It's much more, it's a little lower, and it looks like I can see the clouds. So I'm gonna put it about there. And then put a few dimensionals behind our banner. And the banner looks like it runs right over the top of our linen thread. So I'm going to, and the banner is, see, that's why I left this open like that. The banner comes left of the edge of the bottle. So it is like centered on the page. And I do want to see the water, so I don't want to cover up all of that. There we go. So pretty. So that's our step 3. Now step 4 is to put our birds on. And they have this bird just sort of at the end of this banner here. So he's just glued down to the banner part, but he needs a dimensional behind his head because this banner is up on dimensionals. So I'm going to put, I think I can fit a dimensional behind his head. Yes, one whole dimensional behind his head, but some glue dots behind his body, which they do indicate there. Perfect. And his feet are down below the banner, and he's just sort of over to the side here where he's not covering the sentiment. Really cute. And then my bow, I'm thinking I want it a little smaller. So I'm just playing with the tails. Now that I've got the other elements in place, now I can envision how I want my thread to be. I do like it looking a little more, I don't know, haphazard than normal though. I guess this nautical feeling goes with that a little bit. Okay, they've got their birds like this, and they do have dimensionals behind these flying birds, just kind of cut in half. Whoop, I dropped mine. So I'm gonna make a snip up the middle of my dimensional sheet, which is gonna leave me some halves like this. And I can put one behind each of the bodies. There we go. They're just a little too small to put a full dimensional on there. So they've got this guy like that about, and then this one kind of flying in next to him, like about like there. There we go. That is our third and final card. So if I get this stuff out of the way here, and I bring in the beautiful coordinating envelopes that go with these. We'll take another look at each one. And they are so pretty. I love how they're an unexpected color combination for nautical. I mean, certainly the blues and greens, but this freesia and the poppy red, I think adds such a pretty balance to those. I just love them. Here's a look at all three of the beautiful cards that we made with the Sending Good Thoughts paper pumpkin kit from July 2022. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you have fun working with your kit, and I will put together some alternates and try to come back in another video and share those with you. Thanks so much for joining me today, and have a terrific day.